My dear English learners, today we travel back to a clear morning, September 10th, 2025. On this day, thousands of students filled the lawns of a great university. The sky was bright, voices filled the air, and at the center sat a man, Charlie Kirk. A large white tent rose above the crowd. Across its front were bold words, "Prove me wrong." It was more than decoration. It was a challenge, a call to open debate. Charlie Kirk, only 31 years old, leaned forward, ready to speak. Many already knew him from television and radio. Some cheered with passion. Others held signs and shouted against him. But whether they loved him or hated him, every eye was fixed on him. Charlie's voice was strong and clear. He spoke of freedom, responsibility, and the future of America. Cheers rose. Protests answered back. The air was heavy with tension, yet alive with energy. Then suddenly, a sharp sound split the air. Louder than the cheers, louder than the protests. For one heartbeat, the world froze. Charlie's hand went to his neck, his eyes wide with shock. Then, before the crowd, he fell from his chair. Screams broke the silence. Students stumbled and pushed as fear spread like fire. The stage that had been a place of ideas became a scene of chaos. Cameras recorded every moment. What began as a debate turned into tragedy. The bright sky now seemed heavy, as if mourning with the crowd. Long before that tragic day, Charlie Kirk had been just another teenager. At 18, a thought began to shape his future. He looked at his classmates, his friends, and the voices on television. He saw that most of what young people heard came from one side. Conservative ideas, he felt, had little space in schools or in the media. So Charlie asked himself, what if I created a place where young people could learn these ideas? That question became an answer. And that answer became an organization, Turning Point USA. At first, it was only a small idea in the mind of a teenager. But carried with passion, it held great power. Charlie traveled, spoke, and shared his vision. Soon, young people gathered around him, eager to be part of something bigger than themselves. The group grew quickly. From one corner of the country to another, students joined. They liked Charlie's clear way of speaking and his energy. He spoke of freedom, limited government, and personal responsibility. For many, these ideas felt fresh and exciting. What began as a seed grew into a tree. In only a few years, Turning Point USA became the largest conservative youth movement in the United States. It gave young people a voice. It gave them a home. And for Charlie Kirk, it was only the beginning. As Turning Point USA expanded, so did Charlie's influence. His voice was no longer limited to campuses. It reached the halls of power. Among those who noticed was President Donald Trump. The two quickly became close. Charlie was young, energetic, and committed to conservative values. The president saw him as a strong ally and a trusted friend. Charlie never sought a government job. That was not his path. Instead, he built his movement from the outside, using his platform to inspire especially the young. During the 2024 election, Charlie played a vital role. He urged students to vote. He spoke in cities, towns, and campuses. Many young people listened, and because of his voice, they chose to support President Trump. Charlie also built ties with the president's circle. He often appeared with Donald Trump Jr. Their travels showed their strong bond. He gave early support to J.D. Vance, who later became vice president. These connections revealed how far Charlie's influence reached inside American politics. But it was not only friendship that made him known. His strong opinions did. He often criticized mainstream media. He spoke openly on race, gender, and immigration. His words won him loyal followers and fierce critics. Still, Charlie stood firm. He believed his role was to speak boldly, no matter the cost. For him, silence was never an option. Charlie Kirk was not only a man on stages and at rallies, he was also a powerful voice in media. On X, more than 5 million people followed him. His posts spread like fire, earning both praise and sharp criticism. He also created The Charlie Kirk Show, a podcast and radio program with 500,000 of monthly listeners. His voice reached people in their cars, in their homes, and through their headphones as they walked to class. Television welcomed him too. On Fox News, he appeared often as a guest and sometimes even as a host. Each appearance widened his reach. His way of speaking was direct and unfiltered. He said exactly what he believed, whether about politics, culture, or faith. Many admired this boldness, seeing him as unafraid to challenge the mainstream. But boldness brought controversy. Some thought his words were too sharp, even offensive. Campuses where he spoke often became places of protest. Still, Charlie welcomed challenge. His events carried the words, "Prove me wrong." He invited debate, even with opponents. To him, this was democracy in action. For young conservatives, he was a hero, the voice they wished to raise themselves. For others, he was a symbol of division. Either way, Charlie Kirk could not be ignored. His voice echoed across the nation, loud, unfiltered, unforgettable. The morning in Utah was calm and clear. Students filled the grounds of Utah Valley University to see Charlie Kirk. To many, he was a leader. To others, an opponent. A familiar tent stood at the center with the challenge, "Prove me wrong." Inside, Charlie took his place, ready to debate. The crowd buzzed cheers from supporters, shouts from critics. Cameras captured it all. Charlie leaned into the microphone. His voice rose with conviction. The students listened, some nodding, some shaking their heads. Then it happened. A sudden sharp sound tore the air. A gunshot. For a moment, the crowd froze. Charlie's hand went to his neck. His eyes widened. And then before them, he collapsed. The peaceful morning shattered. Screams filled the air. Students ran in all directions, desperate to escape. Chairs toppled, signs dropped, panic spread. The cameras never stopped. They recorded everything. The fear, the confusion, the fall of a leader. Within minutes, the images spread across the world. For his followers, the shock was unbearable. Charlie was not only a speaker, he was their voice, their symbol, their guide. Now in an instant he was gone. The Utah sky, once so bright, felt heavy and grey. What began as debate ended in tragedy. News of the shooting spread with lightning speed. Phones buzzed, televisions broke into reports, radios carried urgent voices. The whole nation was listening. Some wept, some shouted in anger. Others sat in silence, unable to believe what they heard. On TV, the words repeated, "Charlie Kirk has been shot." That evening, President Trump spoke from the Oval Office. His face was heavy with sadness. "This is a dark day for America," he said. He promised justice. He vowed that every person behind the violence would be found. His words were firm, his tone unshaken. Many conservatives agreed. They wanted answers, protection and assurance that Charlie's death would not be forgotten. Other leaders also spoke. Voices from both parties condemned the violence. They called for calm, for peace, for unity. They begged the nation to step back from hate before it destroyed more lives. In Washington, Congress gathered. Lawmakers stood in silence. Heads bowed, and for a moment, the chamber was still heavy with grief. Yet minutes later, shouting began. Old arguments returned, showing how deep the divisions remained. For ordinary people, one question burned: what will happen to us now? The tragedy in Utah was not alone. It joined a painful pattern. Earlier that same year, 2 politicians in Minnesota were attacked at home. One died. Communities were left shaken. The year before, at an outdoor rally, a bullet came dangerously close to President Trump. The crowd panicked. The image of him ducking for cover was burned into memory. 2 years earlier, a man broke into the home of Nancy Pelosi. With a hammer, he attacked her husband, proving even private homes were not safe. And, in 2017, bullets rained on Republican lawmakers playing baseball. Several were injured. A friendly game turned into a battleground. Each story carried the same truth. Political life in America had become dangerous. After Charlie's death, many asked, is anyone safe anymore? Security could be tight, but violence still found its way. Some compared politics to a blood sport where words were no longer enough, and hatred turned into action. For citizens, it was frightening. For leaders, it was a warning. Fear spread. And with it came the question of how long democracy could survive under such threat. As the sun set over Utah, the sky remained clear, but the nation's heart was heavy. The question echoed everywhere. What happens next? Local leaders spoke with sorrow. Witnesses described the fear. Police searched for answers. Families prayed. Students wept. The nation held its breath. Governor Spencer Cox spoke with emotion. He said the nation was broken, torn by division and anger. He asked, is this what 250 years of history has given us? Is this who we are? His voice trembled with doubt and hope. I pray that is not the case, he said. His words echoed across America, but answers did not come. Could the country heal its divisions? Could people listen without hate? Could leaders put the nation above their battles? The truth was uncertain. The shooting of Charlie Kirk was not just about one man. It was about a country at war with itself. Words becoming weapons, debates turning into danger. For some, his death became a symbol, a call to defend what they believed. For others, it was a warning that violence could strike anyone anywhere. And so, the story ended, not with certainty, but with questions hanging in the air about unity, peace, and the future. No one knew the answers, but everyone understood the cost of not finding them.